names and companies that start with S's, because S's next year is a very successful year for it. Because I always say, because I specialize in handwriting, so I always say that it's the names and the companies and that sort of have certain letters in. The next year really suits. So you'll find countries like Saudi Arabia and places like that start with an S will be in the limelight for the right reasons and things like that. So
would El Salvador count in that, even though it's EL?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So all of those, and S's are a very powerful and very important letter for next year. It works really well with the vibration, and the vibration next year is caring, loving, looking after. So you'll find things like dating agencies and stuff, that'll all do really well next year. So because it's a time of bringing together, bringing harmony, love and compassion and good things to other people. So everybody's got this sort of glow about them. They want to do good things. So good.
I'm sorry to interrupt. Here's Shiba's chart over the last, what did I pull up? 14 days.
Okay.
So when we were talking about going into January 14th, you noticed how it kind of was wobbling and went down, and now it's starting to rise. So does that kind of go in line with what you were saying?
That's definitely going in, and that's really good that I can see it as well. So because like I said, I don't normally see it or even know. So yes, it does. It's keeping on track here. So like I said, I think I've got another little spring coming in the early part of January, and that starts sort of beginning to spring. And I think that's what's going to create the excitement. So I think it's going to be much harder to buy them and buy the coins and that around from that period. I think once we get into January, it's going to be very hard. I think people are going to be snapping them up. They're all of a sudden going to be watching and saying there's something exciting here. And as other coins and that are not doing quite so well, they'll be looking at ones that they say are steady plodders. And this one is a steady plodder. I feel that this one is going places, which is good. And look where it's heading. It's heading up to Spirit at this moment. It's heading up high.
That's right.
So we're keeping it up there. We're keeping it up there.
So SL, do you have more questions about Shiba?
Yeah. So right now you said creeping up. So in April, so the market will do really well in March and April. Well, the second half of March. Can you tell us how Shiba performed in February, March, April?
February, I think it's going to be where it eases off. It slows down very slightly, but only the first week in February. I think once you get past the 10th in February, I think then we'll start seeing the creeping up each day. So it has what I call a little bit of a sneeze. It has a moment where it steps back to what it was. And if you look to see what it's going to be round about the 27th, 28th of December now, it'll go back to round about that price. So whatever it is then over the next few days, that's the price it's going to go back to. So it'll go back to that. And then it'll just keep creeping up and creeping up. Like I said, I expect it to go up really big during the summertime. So if you've invested in it, I'm expecting here massive numbers, just like they talk about Bitcoin now. I expect them to be talking about the same. So I think we'll be talking, quite a few thousand. So we'll be going up like even keep getting 60 in my head, like 60,000. They'll be talking about, you were going, how could it have jumped up that much? But that's because April energy loves it, and it will build itself up during that time. So it'll go crazy and mad during that time, but on the up. And then don't let people just talk it down. And if they start talking it down, it's because they want you to sell your coins. They want to be able to get your coins. Mm-hmm. So I think what you haven't bought by February, I think it's going to be almost impossible, because all of a sudden everybody be jumping on the bandwagon. And I believe that a lot of predictions and that when they talk about the cryptocurrency will be all suggesting to people to go and get that. And they'll be saying, get the opportunity, get it. So come on to it.
Yeah. So then in January, what's the lowest, what day Shiba will have the lowest price?
And the date that we can actually look at it and see that it's the lowest price, then I would be looking at around that 28th, around the 28th, because I would be looking at seeing what it made in December, the 27th and 28th. And I think the 28th is then going to show you how you should expect it to grow, or how it's growing on a day that people are saying, well, the coins that really grow today are the ones that are going to be the big boys this year. So that's going to be your key point. Your key point will be then.
Then do you see that Shiba will reach a penny in 2022?
No, I don't see it being there. No.
Okay.
So I think no.
Okay. Yeah, that
I've actually got that down. I've done a list here of a couple of names and that going down through that I think are going to do particularly well. And I've put Shiba down as my number one bet. It's my, not that I'm a betting person, but my number one bet that I'm going to have for this year. If I'm going to buy anything, then that's what I would be trying to buy it in, because I think that's going to be the biggest climber of the whole year.
Yes.
That's what I believe.
Yeah. So right now Shiba is under a penny. Shiba has 4 0 and 3 7s.
Okay.
So yeah, it's not even a penny yet.
Okay. Right. Well, this is as absolute as low as it's going to be. It's not going to be any lower than this. So this is where you need to be prepared for the market to start really acknowledging it and recognizing it. And like I said, by the beginning of the year, everybody be talking about it. So then it's going to just start shooting up, and that's when it's going to be, harder to get hold of it. So I think it's easier to buy it now than it is going to be in January. I think if you buy any in January, you would have paid quite high compared to the people that buy it now. So buy if you get the opportunity, especially. But I don't see it dropping back down to where it is at this moment in time. I don't see it going that far.
Then 2023, how is Shiba performing in 2023? And what month?
Well, I give that a good time. I haven't gone into real loads of detail on 2023, but I believe that that's got 5 years of excitement around it. As I said, I'm comparing this one with Bitcoin. The way they talk about Bitcoin, I believe they'll be talking about Shiba in exactly the same way. They'll be saying it like it's the stability. It's the one for people to try to get hold of, to have that reassurance that they're going to earn profit at the end of the month, or they're going to earn more from it. So they're going to be looking at it. The way that we say XRP is where all the countries are jumping on board with it. But I think that is still a lot of hype. And even though they are going to be jumping on board with it, I still don't see it as being as successful as what Shiba is going to be in the future. Like I said, I feel there'll be other coins that really are better than XRP in the future. So
I don't like XRP, so that's why SL is giggling.
Right, is it?
Yeah, it's a centralized currency. It's a bank.
Yeah, exactly.
Coin, so I don't like it. So. Yeah.
And that's what I think with it is going to go down very much at the old banking system, the thing that we're about to get rid of completely now. And I hope within the next couple of days that we've all done and dusted completely with it. We've gone over to the quantum financial system and that. And I definitely believe that it would be all up and running and everybody be using it and talking about it and everybody being trained on it, even by the 6th of January, that I believe the quantum financial system. So I think that's going to be really good. And I know that to be right because I've dreamt about it twice now. Over the last couple of days, and I see all the January the 6th people being released from prison and that round about the 20th of January time, and they wouldn't do that unless the financial system was all sewn up and done and dusted. So I think the financial system has got a big awakening right now, right as we speak at this moment. Over the Christmas period, it's not going to be quiet. It's going to be transforming and changing terribly, and there's going to be, but in a good way, terribly, exciting.
No, it's good for the people. Yeah,
it's good huge for the people. Absolutely huge, right? And even before, and when everybody else is worried about all what's going on with the cryptocurrencies and all the other currencies and things like that, it's just to take your mind off of all what's actually going on. And I think that's why they're trying to make examples of the cryptocurrency and trying to talk it down at this moment in time. They're trying to do it on purpose. Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
Sorry, I do blabber. Sorry.
You can come on my show and blabber anytime. I love it. But SL has a lot of questions for you.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, I think we have to make this a 5-hour show then.
So
we'll do a girls' sleepover. We'll do like a
yeah.
sleepover thing where we talk to you all night.
You wouldn't get any sleep. That's fine.
So besides Shiba, there's another coin called Akita. Akita did really well in May. So about 7 months ago, when Shiba was going up and Akita is like right along it, just not too far off. So we want to know, will Akita go back to its all-time high price? So right now, Akita is, I think it has 50, and oh my God, 50 and 16.
I'm sorry, I'll pull it up.
Yeah, 50 and 16. Do you see that in March and April? In March and April, Akita will go back to all-time high, which means like I forgot the all-time high price.
Is it wait, what's the ticker for Akita?
AKITA. So all-time high price for Akita was like 4029. So right now it has 50.
Okay, right.
Do you
and I
see
think
that?
That's going to keep going on. That's going to keep increasing. That's not going to go quite as rapid as the rest of the cryptocurrency. No, it's not going to go as fast as that, and it is going to be like the brother or the sister, something that's just coming along behind. I do think it is going to be a safe bet, but not straight away. It is something that's going to build up, and actually, I think on a month that's a little bit quieter, which is May, I think that's going to do extremely well. And I think in a month that I would be biting my nails with all cryptocurrencies in February, I think it's going to do well during February. So watch for the changes in February and the little leaps and bounds and that. And it could be up in the 6s during that time, and maybe going into May time in around 7s. And be that little bit higher. And I would think that would be quite quick. So I would say you've got another percentage of that going on top of it that you'll get even as soon as February. And then you'll find in May, you'll probably get 1 or 2% even higher on top of that again. So you've got a couple of very exciting months where it's slow for most coins, but this one in particular is going to do really nicely during that time. I think it's what I call a nice little warmer in the back oven that's going to continue on over the next couple of years, but not be a horse race where it's a winner all the time. It is something that you'll be keeping an eye on and saying, yeah, that's good, but I need it to be a little bit faster. I don't know why. I just got an image and a picture of like the little Teletubby, the one that you like, but doesn't really talk or say a lot. So it's the one that you say, I don't want to get rid of for that reason. But it just seems to be some kind of nice little bit of interest that's coming in round about the May time, and that with the company. So watch to see what it's about. What does it do? Is it game or what does it do?
Oh, it's a meme coin just like Shiba.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah. But it doesn't feel the same vibration as Shiba.
It's not just the same as Shiba. It doesn't have the infrastructure that Shiba has. It doesn't have a swap. It doesn't have its own blockchain. It doesn't have,
Right. Okay. So I think then that May, I think somebody else or another team will merge with it. It's about merging next year. So it's when two become one. So a lot of companies then will join to try to make a stronger force. If they do one thing and somebody else does something else, you'll find in January and February time, because of the sort of uncertainty, they'll be starting to merge together and say, well, if we do this as a team together, we can fight to be up there with the big boys. And that's what they're saying. So there's going to be second chances for coin names that have been around before and those that want to merge. There will be a lot of merging. So those are the companies, but the merging companies are what I call the quick burst of money. I don't see them around for a long, long time if they do go and merge with another company, because you've got one strong side and one other not so strong side where it's about you've got to be united next year. Next year is two teams working together perfectly. So be just a little bit wary of companies that are all of a sudden merging.
Do you know what week in May Akita will perform well?
I think the middle of May, the 2 weeks in the middle of May, they would do particularly well.
And then how about February?
And in February time, I think straight in at the start, I think from the very end, 28th of January time, I think they start creeping, and then there will be some decent jumps there that you'll find they'll get half in the first week what they're going to make the whole month of February. It's sort of like a jump and then another jump. I like the second and the third day of February seems to work really well with the company. The energy suits that company well. So I think you can get a decent jump. So on those 2 days.
Awesome. There is a coin called Veritasium. They recently, the founder of the coin, he was granted a patent for his inventions. Do you see how high? Do you see what month Veritasium will do well? Right now it's $90.
Right. Okay. I think January they're going to do well. April they're obviously going to do well, and I think June, July, and August they're all going to be equal to January. So I think January is going to be the slowest month for them, but still at making profits, which is quite nice. I think anything here and next year to do with patent plans, new ideas, countries and people being independent, inventors, and anything here that's bringing in new ideas, pioneering ideas, are going to do extremely well over the next decade. So not even short time, but decades. So we're looking at long periods here. So I think this is just one success, and they must have a team here of great perfectionists, because I'm feeling all the hairs on the back of my neck standing up on end. So the team that's working with them, they're very strong, a strong team. So they're not going to be sat waiting for everybody to catch up with them or do the same things as them. They still want to be, they've got big egos. So when they got big egos, so sorry to say that, but when they have, that means they want to be shining all the time. They want people to talk about them. So it is going to be quite an exciting company to be around or to be involved in, and that, but that's going to be very good. Very.
Do you see the price for this coin? Do you see any price?
Okay.
I have some price.
What is it now? Because I've got 10 plus. So what is it now?
Right now it's $90, 49 cents, $90.94.
Right. So I think even in January it's going to go up by another further 10%. So I think over the next few days and that you will see those leaps and bounds. So we've got a good 10% at least revalue or valuing up even before January's out. Remember, January is it's just slow. It's a tired month to start it. It's where there's going to be lots of baby new coins and new names and that come in. I think the ones that are there are going to have the biggest shake up, because the ones that are coming in will be all singing, all dancing, and they'll be doing everything. They will be investing in the latest technology and the latest ideas. And that's going to be exciting. But this company will compete all the way, and they don't want to be left behind at all. So they're fighters. That's what I said. The whole team is a perfectionist, and I don't compliment very often. So that must be very good for them to be called a perfectionist, the whole team. I'm always there saying you've got a weak link here or somebody's not. But actually, they're a full team, and they're really, very strong in that. So which is very exciting.
Yeah. That's awesome. And then I have another coin that it has not launched yet. The name of the coin is Bitcoin Black.
Okay.
This project has been trying to launch for a few years, and the team has been quiet for about 6 to 8 months. Do you see when will launch and what's going on with the current projects?
Right. I think they will try and relaunch or have a better launch. Remember what I said about anybody associated, or the name will be associated with Bitcoin. And the trouble is, I think at this moment in time, I think their plans are saying, well, okay, we'll get Christmas out the way and then we'll start thinking about it. So they will be thinking about February, even March, about a big relaunch and a big kickstart. And I think it'd be totally the wrong time for them to do it. They would have to wait till April. If they waited till April and then did it, this time they would actually take off, because so many people are just associating it with Bitcoin and the black, thinking the black hats, the dark hats, the not as good guys at this moment in time. I think it would just bring a very edgy, slow start, and they could be then sat there on the shelves for another 6 months before they start really moving. And they've got to be serious. I know they probably are serious, and it's very rude of me to say that, but they've got to be serious about when they launch and how they launch. And that's what they've got to actually look at. And I think for them, it's all in the month they start. If they start in January, it'll be too slow for them. In February, they'll really and truly wish that they didn't. But I think their energy is to just get Christmas out the way and then really get going on it. And for me, I think that's far too quick for them. They need to wait until we can get through March and then really get going on the good months. So if they began to talk about them or got people interested in them and started then, I think they could just about hit that April month where people wouldn't be associating them with Bitcoin. And I think they're going to be starting just when everybody's seeing Bitcoin losing big amounts. And as soon as they see that losing big amounts, people then won't want to invest in it because they'll think they're just somebody from that company starting up another one. So it's a bit of a dangerous time for them.
Yeah, Susan, there's a coin or project that my husband and I, or the family, have been involved with for a long time, Theta and TFuel.
Okay.
They're kind of two coins that are linked together. What do you see for Theta and TFuel by the end of the year? So short term and then long term for 2022.
Right. Okay. Short term, I think say the fuel one again, because the fuel one is stressing me a bit. So is it, what did you say?
TFuel or TFuel.
Theta fuel. I think the Theta fuel is going to struggle between now and the end of the year. Okay. So I don't know what it's doing at the moment or where it's going in that, but I think it's ready to go on it. It's not on a dip. It's ready to go on a dip. It's ready to go on it. But remember what I said, this is 100% about holding your nerve. This is about saying here, if you've invested in it as a family and looking at it as a family project, just because it's got a dip and ready to come on a dip. All right. Is that where it is now? Is it on
this is the TFuel price chart.
Right.
This is 24-hour though. Let me put a little like 30-day. Yeah. So it's on a dip.
Right. So it's on a dip. So as long as it's on a dip now, then it's got time to recover a bit. I don't think it recover much before the end of the year. I think it's going to still steadily go on dipping until the end of the year. Okay. And so I think that you are going to see that over the Christmas period, that it is going to go through a dipping time. Now, when is it going to actually pick up? Now, there's something really interesting that sort of happens. And this could be on the 31st of this month. So I think on the 31st of this month, I think you can have your first day that you can smile and celebrate with the family and say, guess what? It's gone back up to what it was Christmas week. So it's not it's not a big lift, but it will just give you a little bit of a smile on your face. And that. Okay. So I think both companies and that, did you say they're a link? They're associated in that together?
Yeah. So TFuel is the gas that you use for Theta. Theta is the original coin. So let me show you the Theta chart. Okay.
So remember what I said just now when I said about two companies and that merging together with their technology and what they hope that they can bat off of what the other.
So these aren't two different companies. It's just it's the same company. It's just like two pieces that it's like two tools within the company.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. And that's why it will go okay. And only okay at the moment in time. I think even through January in that it's going to be still quite a hard ride for both of them. And you're one of those strange ones that I think in February time, it's actually going to suit your coins during February time. So I think even though you have that last day of smiling at the end of the year here, I believe in February time that you'll have a little bit of growth, and that only through the first 2 weeks in February time, I think there will be enough growth there that you say, well, we're going to keep investing in this. I definitely still see them at the end of the year. So I do believe they will go from a little bit more strength to strength. I don't think they're going to be with the big companies at this moment in time, but I do think they're going to have enough to carry themselves. They do need a good shake up at the moment. They've got to get together on technology. They've got to come up with some different ideas, and they've really got to unite things here and get together, because it's still feeling to me, even though you say they're the same company, but they've just gone down different pathways. They've got different elements they're working with. They need to unite the company a lot more. It needs to feel like we're shooting forward. And at this moment with them, I don't feel like I'm shooting forward. I just feel that I'm sort of sat back here waiting to see what others are coming up with next before I can do what's coming up next. And they shouldn't be. Liquids, fuels, and that type of thing is definitely going to be from May onwards. So any company, even the Tesla companies, now they're going to be sort of building up after the May and during the May period, and now they're going to be doing better. But all oil, fuels, gas, electricity, all those type of companies and that are late bloomers for next year.
It doesn't have anything to do with fuel. It's just the name.
No,
actually, this is about streaming and
video streaming,
sharing video streaming, sharing your broadband, expanding broadband.
Okay, well, as technology is changing, no, but fuels and that, for anybody who does anything with fuels and that is the second part of the year all round, because I think we're going into new forms of fuel and new forms of technology. So I think the technology in that will boost them and help them. And so any kind of
second half of 2022, not
the second half will really start them off, and then you'll have faith and you'll say, I'm glad I bought them now. But up until then, you might have quite a few what I call yawny days that you'll be going, come on then. Yeah, exactly. But have faith in them and know they will get things here together and that through the second part. So yes, that's fine. So it's all the things that have been slow in the first part of the year will kickstart
pick up that second half.
Yeah. They're just waiting for the second part, the second wind. The energy suits them better. It's so fast this year that if people are not ready to go skating down the road or go really fast, and like I said, there's no thinking time this year that's coming up. As soon as you think it, if you don't act and deal or make a sell or make a buy and do it, 2 minutes later, you're literally going to be too late. You're going to be saying, lots of people saying, I missed out on that because I was too slow. You can't be slow. If you're fast and on point all the time.
They say there's going to be, Cliff High's data says that there will be a time of FOMO, or fear of missing out, where the mass, adoption comes. I guess people are coming into the market. I don't know if you can feel that time.
Yeah, because I think that's absolutely right. I think for so many people, and especially when more people have abundance of money and they're going to be talked about all the cryptocurrencies and that, I think that's going to get people into a panic, because those people with no knowledge whatsoever is just going to buy something for the name. So the easier the name.
When do you think that will be? When do you think
that? I think definitely by March. I think January time of abundance will start. The financial market will get itself once and for all talked about in a way that you know exactly where it's going. You'll know that the normal financial systems are gone, the banks are gone, the way that we know them to be, and everything will become different. And because it's that, then people will say, well, now I've got some money. Now I know I'm going to have some money. Now I know something's coming. And it's not all just about abundance and things like that. It's about us doing things now in a better way, a fairer way. And that's why people are going to be getting into the cryptocurrency, but without any thought. They're just going to be saying, right, that'll do. That's cheap enough.
Just looking for different projects. This one's Matic that I pulled up, and it's one that supports Ethereum or is a problem solver. It's a technology coin that makes Ethereum work better or faster. What do you see for it?
Ethereum is going to be, that's an excellent company. That's really going to be a good company. It's all good for them anyway over the next couple of years. And this company here, I think, not just because they're associated with it, but just it's the smart thinking, those that are a little bit more edgy and a little bit more individual. And that's where I think these guys will benefit in that, because it's the same, very pointy, a lot of ups and downs and that with them. But I think it's going to be much more about going up. I think their energy in that is heading in the right direction here.
Okay.
And
Estelle, did you want to ask some questions about Matic specifically?
Yeah,
or timeline?
yeah. I'm just curious, like what month Matic will perform really well, and like what it has right now is $2. What's the price, Lisa?
Let me find it. Yes, $2.61.
Yeah. Do you see how high Matic will rise next year?
Well, eventually by next year, I don't think it's going to be one of the absolute massive big ones and that, but I would still see in the 40s. So I would still see like 40,000. I would be looking at the 40s and that with it. So even though it's quite low at this moment in time, I was quite surprised it was quite so low. I was expecting it to be much higher even before the end of this year. So this could be one of those over what I call the sleepy period on Christmas Eve and that could make a nice little jump there. And so you could end up then waking up Christmas morning and seeing something that's looking a little bit healthier with the price tag on this one. So I think if you're going to buy into that, you would have to do it now before Christmas Eve. Because if you wait until Christmas Eve, then you would see everybody else would be laughing on Christmas Day and you'll be there on Boxing Day thinking, I wish I jumped at this one. But like I said, this one here, it is ringing well, and it is going to be going up in the 40s. Isn't it funny how we're only talking about dollars and a few little cents and small things now, then all of a sudden we go from that to talking about 40,000. Right. And like I said, it's not going to be massive up in the 60s and 70s and that, certainly not at this moment in time, but see what they do during the year. Because during the year we have their excitements, and funny, they're a company that's going to do well in the autumn time. So you'll see September, October, and that they do some of their biggest leaps and that. So that could be a company to be worthwhile hanging on to. So
for the 40,000, do you know what year it will be? Like you talk about 40, like $4 or $40 or 40,000.
40,000. I was going to the big one because I was looking by sort of like this time next year. So by the time we get to this latter end, I think that September and October time, there's going to be some really big jumps that come in for it during there, and we'll be looking up in the thousands. And that's why I said we're going from like a few dollars, a few small things now, and then all of a sudden we start going up into the bigger leads. But we're not in the big boys. There will be several coins out there that it'll be a lot higher than this one. And even though I like the energy that comes in with it because it suits the year itself, it's fast. The company will be fast and pacey most of the time, which is really good. And that suits next year. Like I said, you've got to be on part, on form for everything next year. You can't be asleep. You definitely can't be asleep. You've got to, sorry to say, you'll be all going, she's not going to let me go to bed now, but you've got to be awake a lot of the time. And that's where it's really important that you don't dither too much. And then if your energy is right and it says you need to cream off the profit now, sometimes you just got to do that. You just got to hold back. Sometimes it's your energy that's just got to slow down, or you're being taught a lesson to say, cream off the profit and then invest.
Okay.
Let's do that.
But that's a big jump. Go from below $3 to 40,000 by the end of next year. That's a big jump.
That's an absolutely massive jump. But like I said, I think September and October time is going to be where certain currencies really jump, and they take big jumps. But then watch what they do beforehand. Watch the build up, the conversation. As soon as it starts building up, and like I said, people are looking for all these newbies coming in to invest in it. And as soon as there's some good talking about a certain currency, then they'll just invest in it, and they won't know what they're doing or how they're doing it. And so they'll be just investing just to put some money somewhere. And so
Susan, is that because people will be moving from, like we said, that crash or that end of the banking system, and they'll be moving their money from that silver or whatever that gets destroyed and moved into, and that will be going into this cryptocurrency.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's how much market cap's coming into cryptocurrency. These numbers are going to go that high just in this next year.
And that's why I think that it's all important about how the cryptocurrency fares with governments and that, how they get involved with governments and what they let governments get away with. So you've definitely got to be a team. You've all got to work together. You've all got to complain. You've all got to say you've got no rights. You can't interfere with this. You've got to stand up for yourself during that time. And if you can do that, then you're going to be making them concentrate on other things. And because everybody's going to be putting their money into it, people are going to want somewhere that they think is safe, and they like it because the cryptocurrency gives them money daily. So that's what they think. They think, well, I can just invest in that. I can just put it there and leave it. There's going to be a lot of people that invest for a very long time. And so that's why some of the coins and that all of a sudden get massive impacts of people wanting to buy a lot, which then makes the increase in prices jump so dramatically, because it's a dramatic year next year. There is shock after shock next year. There's shock with all the cryptocurrencies. People say, I can't believe that one's doing so well. Or that one that I thought was going to die out, not going to be there. All of a sudden it comes back up. It gives everybody a second chance to get that opportunity of doing well. So the crypto world just better be awake and ready for it. And I know it is. So sorry to be so rude to you all out there.
No, it's good. It's good. I know, SL, you wanted to talk about this next coin.
XYO. Do you see that XYO will go to $1 next year?
Right. I've taken a deep breath there. So if they do, I think they'll go back. I think it'll drop back. It'll get up there.
Do you know what month it will go to $1?
See, January. Just bear with me a second, January. May. I think it'll go there in May time, but I think in June time, it'll drop back. So whatever it is before you get to the month of May, it will drop back to that. So it will go up there and then it will drop back. So
that's awesome.
You just got to be prepared for that bit of drop back and then for it to start shooting up. And I think it will take quite a few months to be able to get back up to where it was during that May time. So May, I think, is the most exciting month, or the best month that they will potentially have. Even April time, which is meant to be absolutely extraordinary, and that for all cryptocurrencies that make it into it. Because I think if you're not going to make it into it, you'll be falling off, you're falling to pieces, and that people will be talking about, don't invest in this company, and that be doing it beforehand.
I agree. So then we already know that, Shiba will be the star next year. You told me in my reading, you told some of my members. How about Saitama? Saitama, do you see how Saitama will perform in March and April of next year?
Right, brilliantly.
Under a penny.
That I think that's going to be quite reasonably high. Did you say a 1 or 2?
Saitama right now is under a penny, has 7 0 in the front.
Right, okay. Right, and more than 1 7 in it?
1 second, let me pull it up.
I'm trying to, I always put the I in the wrong place. SAITAMA.
Yeah.
So here we go.
Right. Okay.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 zeros, 4, 7, 3, 7, 9.
Right. Okay. It's all the 7s that bring it in, that bring in the energy that's going to move it up, because the 7s now we're up in the energy, we're moving it up for it. So yes, I do. That this is one here. I don't think it's a big jumper, so it's not going to be one of those that jump hugely. And so I think you'll be looking much more of rounding everything off. So I think over the next few weeks, we'll be rounding things off. I think this is definitely a coin that's going to enjoy the winter months or the darker days rather than the lighter days. So I think it goes slower during the spring and the summer, but faster during the winter and the autumn. So I think it's the both latter ends of the year. The beginning part that it starts off with and the latter end. I know your summers and winters are probably completely different than mine. So we're just going here, the UK one. So we're doing the January, February time, it will do well and it'll round itself off. So, which is good, going up to $1. So it's rounding itself off. And then we'll be looking at September, October, November. And November, when a lot of coins and that are doing not so well, this one here will have a couple of weeks right up until the middle, probably about the 17th, 18th, and that, which it will do quite well in November time. And I think that will be its biggest jump of the whole year during November time. So that's going to be not brilliant, but better, a plodder. So I like plodders.
So right now, Saitama has 7-0. Do you see that we'll lose a few zero next year?
I think next year, yes, it will. I think it will continue on in the same vein that it's going on now, where it has a couple of months of moving forward, then it goes to sleep for a while. And I think probably 2023 will be a better year for it. So if you've got the coins and you're prepared to wait this year out and wait to the autumn time or September, October, November time of this year, I think you'll make a little bit of money on it, but you might end up having to sit on it for sort of like 4 or 5 months without it making big money or anything that you can really talk about to say that that was worth hanging on to. So I think until the spring and the summertime, where it goes to sleep a bit more, and it's pretty much acting the way that it is at this moment, up and down and up and down and all over the place. Got a lot of craziness with some of the coins going on at this moment in time, but I don't think it's necessarily the coin's fault. I think it's just the energy that we're in. We're just sorting out, we're weeding our garden, as we should say at this moment. We're trying to sort out the good ones and the ones that we really want to invest in, that we really think are going to do well for the world. And next year you have to be, it's about giving back to the world. It's about doing great things.
Speaking of that, when you were talking about Armstrong, will Starlink outperform Shiba? Could Starlink be that Armstrong you were hearing or thinking of? And could that outperform Shiba following like March to October?
Yes, I think it will. I think it will carry on. I'm still sticking to it that I give Shiba my number one for the highest, climbs next 2022 is my number one is Shiba. So I'm definitely giving that.
You didn't think it would go to a penny?
I didn't think it would go to a penny.
Yeah.
But then that is just at this moment in time. This is getting rid of the energies now and going into it. But that's going to be my number one coin. That's going to be the biggest jumps, and that's the one that's going to do the best in April out of all the other companies and that. So yes.
Okay. Yeah. I think I sort of know my answers. My member want to know, will Starlink outperform Shiba in 2023?
In 2023, I think it probably could just actually have the edge on it, but just very slightly. I think it'll have the edge on it. I just think because a lot more people will be talking about it, and because of all these newbies coming in, they're just going to jump on board with it and say, well, I'm going to sort of invest in that. So I think it's going to give Shiba a run for its money in 2023. But then the coins and that with plenty of sevens in at this moment would do better in 23 than they will in 22. And 22 is the individuals. It's now the fighting powers, the ones that are really going to show the big profits. It's going to show everybody what they can make and what they can do. And that's what Shiba is going to do. So for me, I'm smiling all the way to the bank with the Shiba. So, but a different bank, the new banks and that. So I think that's your safe bet, which is good.
Yeah. So a lot of people in this community in a bunch of coin like this. They in a coin called Cardano, Stellar Lumen, and Dogecoin. They want to know how those coins will perform next year, like what month and the price, if you see anything. So Cardano's one, Stellar Lumen, and then Doge.
Right. Cardano, that's my number 8th biggest climber. for I've written down 8 names and that of ones here that I tuned into while I was waiting to log into you here, and tuned into them, and that's my number 8. So I think Cardano is going to be a company, and I do see that one around for quite a few years. So I do see that as being a solid investment, which is really good. So yes.